What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to JellyGoonTv. Welcome back to my beautiful audience, my beautiful JellyGoon squad, and the new viewers, of course. If you watch this video and you're a new viewer, please do subscribe. Hit that notification button so you get updated on the newest videos that come to this channel when you become a member of JellyGoon squad, of course. Also, please remember to watch the ads in these videos in order to support me. All the YouTube revenue will to go to this channel, so it's just a beautiful thing. Also, check out the YouTube channel over here, JellyGoonTv Clips, where we post clips and everything. I'm not doing it, a subscriber is doing it, and it's amazing, man. So go over there and check it out, of course. Also, please check my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Of course, Discord is also down below. Go over there and join them if you want to. Of course, it's beautiful. I post up there and, you know, chat me if you want to, do whatever you want to do. So, yeah. Anyway, guys and girls, today we have a very special video. I'm going back to the history of Russia. So what did the Russians really do in World War I? Not mean that they didn't do anything, but where were they at? What were they doing? Russia during World War I, 1940 to 1970. How Russia fought on the Eastern Front in World War I. So it's very interesting to know, man, because Russia really did fight. They really, you know, I think they took a lot of, you know, pride in that. So yeah, without further ado, my Russian subscribers and everybody else, I love you so much. This one is to you, man. Let's go.
What happened to Russia during the First World War? How did Russia fight on the Eastern Front of World War I? That's what you're gonna find out in this video.
Nice. History Hustle, go down.
Hey, welcome back on the channel, and if you happen to be new on this channel, feel free to watch another video and subscribe. And if you do so, please hit the notification bell so you will become part of the hustle. Let's start. Russia did not enter the First World War from a position of strength. Yes, it had an advantage in manpower and material over Germany. However, its resources were not fully exploited. Political instability and unrealized industrial and military potential could cripple the country in times of war. Austria-Hungary presented Serbia an ultimatum 1 month after their Archduke was assassinated by a Serbian nationalist. On July 31st, Russia announced mobilization and Germany declared war on both France and Russia on August 1st. The following day, German troops crossed into Russian Poland, and on August 6th, Austria-Hungary declared war on Russia. World War I had begun. Faced with the German and Austrian challenge, the empire had
Let me pause here. So basically, they put war out on Russia. So Russia didn't put war out on other people, they just put war out on Russia. That is some crazy shit right there. That's just, man, Russia been through a lot of things, man, really. So yeah, that's crazy, man. I actually didn't know that. That's a really good fact to know because, you know, there's not many wars that Russia actually started. That's the crazy part, man. I talk to my Russian subscribers, you know, listening to the history channels and everything, and it's almost like a loop that drives around that everybody is starting war with Russia for some weird reason because they're a big country and they're apparently a threat. I don't know. Anyway, man, let's go.
No choice, they felt, but to defend its position as a great power or cease to be one. Military reforms implemented in response to the Balkan crisis of 1908 and 1912 had strengthened the army. Nice. Continuing industrial growth and the extension of the railroad network provided grounds for cautious optimism.
Nice.
On August 18th, the Russian capital of St. Petersburg was renamed into the more Slavic-sounding name of Petrograd. That month already 1.4 million men were in uniform. In 1915, another 5 million were drafted. In 1916, another 3,730,000 in 1917. When war came to an end, 15,378,000 men had been conscripted, which was almost 40% of the males between 15 and 49 within the Russian Empire. On July 20th, German troops crossed the unprotected border and took control of the town of Kalis, Czestochowa, and Bedzin. In Kalis, they killed many of its inhabitants and set the town ablaze. This atrocity is often compared to the sack of Louvain during the German invasion of Belgium around the same time. Hostilities on the World War I Eastern Front took place at Stallupönen in East Prussia, which was invaded by the Russians. The Germans achieved a minor victory but then retreated, and on August 20th the Russians achieved victory at the Battle of Gumbinnen.
Nice.
One Russian army was led by General Samsonov and the other by von Rennenkampf, a Russian general with Baltic German origins. Rennenkampf took Gumbinnen, later Rastenburg, located in the very center of Germany's easternmost province.
Let's go Russia!
And the capital Königsberg might be next. It never got that far. After a 6-day march, the Russian Second Army arrived at Allenstein, and it was there that it was annihilated by the Germans. This battle became known as the Battle of Tannenberg. I actually visited this place and recorded the video on location, so if you're interested, there's a link in the top right corner of the screen. The Russian army was later defeated at the Masurian Lakes, after which the Russians were kicked out of East Prussia. Against the Austro-Hungarians, the Russians started with defeats. First during the Battle of Krasnik and later during the Battle of Komarov. However, at Gnina Lipa, they drove away the Austrians and they captured the city of Lemberg. They laid siege to the fortress of Przemysl, which they captured in March the following year. The Germans, they aimed their arrows at Warsaw, and what followed was the Battle of the Vistula River, which ended in Russian victory. Building on this success, the Russians directed their attack towards Silesia, west of Kalisz, and towards the city of Breslau. The Germans intercepted them on November 11th and made over 10,000 prisoners. The Russians pulled back to Łódź, which fell in German hands near the end of that month. The first 4 months of the war had taken its toll on morale, but also material, since the Russians were now in short of guns and ammunition. The Second Battle of the Masurian Lakes in February 1915 ended with another German victory, and Russia lost 30,000 men POW. In April 1915, when winter was over, the Germans attacked as a southern point of the Eastern Front and launched the Gorlice-Tarnów offensive, and together with the Austro-Hungarians achieved a major breakthrough in which they took back the Russian gains of Galicia and also made over 140,000 prisoners. By June, Przemysl and Lemberg were retaken. Later that summer, the Germans managed to seize Warsaw.
Let me pause here. I really want to know what they do with the prisoners. So do they kill them, or do they put them in concentration camps, or where do they put them? I always wonder, because the numbers are so staggering when they take prisoners as more, right? It's so staggering, like 200,000, 100,000, but that's a lot of goddamn people, man. Shit! That's bigger than that's bigger than my country. 1,000. You know, like X 1,000, man. It's crazy. So I really wanted to know what they do about the prisoners. Do they execute them, or what is going on? Please leave a comment down below explaining that, because I really want to know, man. This guy is good at telling the story, man. I like it. Let's go.
Brest-Litovsk and Vilna. The Russian shortages were severe. In July, Assistant Minister of War General Mikhail Baliev pleaded with the French ambassador for help. He reminded Paleolog that in some infantry regiments, 1 man in 3 had no rifle.
What?
The poor fellows wait patiently under a hail of shrapnel for their comrades to fall so they can collect their weapons.
What the hell, bro?
Meanwhile, the Great Retreat commenced, where the Russians relinquished over 100,000 square kilometers and retreated to the east. This was a huge morale blow, and due to the military setbacks, it fostered an atmosphere of xenophobia at the home front. Many Jews and Germans within the Russian borders or within the territories the Russians had conquered fell victims to oppressive measures such as harassment, deportations, and in some cases, murder. When the Russians invaded Anatolia in November 1914, they were accompanied by Armenian units, which they vaguely promised independence once they joined the Russians in the fight against the Ottomans. In December, the Ottomans crossed into Russian Georgia and captured Ardahan, now located in northeastern Turkey, murdering Christians. When the Russians retook it early 1915, they slaughtered local Muslims. The biggest Russian victory occurred at Sarakamis, which they achieved mid-January. As a result of this defeat, the Ottoman pogrom-style violence against the Armenians spiraled out of control and resulted into the infamous Armenian genocide. Alright, back to the summer of 1915. The Germans were on the advance and they captured the fortresses at Kovno and Novogorodsk, now Modlin. The Germans were routed at the fortress of Sowich. And
I just want to pause here. Why do you have to be so extra with the genocide shit? Now, I'm not going political in it because genocide has nothing political to do with anything. Genocide is a horrible act by cowardly men who is considering that winning is not enough, so they actually have to punish, you know, the people around them, right? Genocide I don't like. I think it's the most cowardly thing ever in the world because you just exterminating people for who they believe in and who they are and, you know, everything like that. It's just cowardly, man. It's really cowardly. You need to grow some balls if you do something like that. You need to grow some really balls because you're not a man. You can't call yourself proud or you can't have any honor whatsoever, man. Honor whatsoever. No, you're not a man, you're a pussy and you need to be laid down and fucking struckled down. Like, you need to be treated like a dog in a cage, man. Man, if you do genocide, you deserve to die. You really do, man. It's just, I understand the meaning behind it because they really have the hatred towards it, like the religion, whatever it is. And of course, like, the Muslims did it too. Of course, they had karma coming. When the Russians came, they saw what they did probably, and they did the same thing because, you know, retaliating in war. I totally understand that, but still, it's dumb, it's stupid, and it's men's with no balls. It's basically what it is. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
Was the infamous attack of the dead man.
Yes.
Look it up, it is interesting.
That is
However,
crazy.
the Russians later abandoned this fortress and the Germans took it. After the Great Retreat, Tsar Nicholas II decided to make himself the supreme commander of the Russian forces. And as historian Orlando Figes stated, here the Tsar's regime buried itself. In 1916, on the Western Front near Verdun, a ferocious battle took place over the course of the whole year between the German and the French armies. In March, the Allies asked Russia to occupy the Germans by launching a campaign on the Eastern Front. The Lake Narosh offensive failed because of misplaced artillery fire, and the advancing Russian soldiers got bogged down in the mud. Towards the summer, the Russians launched what would become known as the Brusilov Offensive, named after its commander on the southwestern front. This here was a major offensive, and because the Germans were mostly busy at Verdun on the western front, and the Austro-Hungarians were not able to stop the Russians achieved a breakthrough. This success also brought Romania into the war on the side of the Entente in August 1916. And Russia was not happy about this because now its southern buffer was exposed, and what they feared indeed happened because Romania eventually was overrun by the Central Powers who gladly made use of the country's resources to continue the war. The capital city of Bucharest fell near the end of the year. In 1917, things on the home front went from bad to worse. In Central Asia, a Muslim rebellion against labor draft had to be put down. The mounting discontent reflected the increasing shortages of essential commodities: kerosene, soap, wood, coal, salt, sugar, butter, milk, and bread.
Let me pause here. I just want to say, like, one thing that countries, they really do struggle with in wartime is that all their resources is pushed into the war. So that means that the people behind, they really do need all of these things. And I think it's very bad because, you know, as a country, you need to be strong in the whole. You need to be like in the whole, like wholesome. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be together inside the war. And you need to, you know, you need to feed your people too. Because if the people feel oppressed, they will to, you know, they will to speak up. We've seen this millions of years and millions of times in other places and ages and, you know, all of that. So yeah, it's a good thing. And it's not a good thing, but it's a good thing to keep everybody happy. You know what I mean? But fighting a war also, you know, counting for your people is very hard. Like, it must be ridiculously hard. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to say that. Let's go.
And the sharp rise in prices. The pinch began to be felt in early 1915. By the end of the year, lines in front of shops had lengthened. And in 1916, shortages increased more sharply, while prices continued to rise.
Wow.
Along with strikes, bread riots became more common. And it was just another bread riot that occurred in February 1917, or March according to the new calendar, which spiraled into a revolution which became known as the February Revolution. This overthrew the Romanov dynasty, and it was replaced by a provisional government. The provisional government, however, did not end the war and continued it. They installed a democratic military command which proved impractical. Initiated by the socialist Alexander Kerensky, the June offensives, also known as the Kerensky offensives, took place. This offensive proved to be the nail to the coffin of the Russian army, as John Keegan wrote. For 2 days the attack went well and several miles of ground were gained. Then the leading units, feeling they had done their bit, refused to persist, while those behind refused to take their place. Desertion set in, and worse, fugitives from the front in thousands looted and raped in the rear. When the Germans, who were forewarned, counterattacked with divisions already brought from the west, they and the Austrians simply recovered the ground lost and captured more themselves, driving the Russians back to the line of the river Zbruch on the Romanian border. In September, the Germans took Riga, and the following month they captured the West Estonian archipelago. The Russian Imperial by now was plagued by desertion and disobedience, such as ignoring officers' orders, attacking them, and looting. And it was then, in October or November according to the new calendar, that the Bolsheviks seized power in Petrograd. And this was the beginning of a new rule in Russia. The Bolsheviks eventually sued for peace, and the peace treaty of Brest-Litovsk was signed. More on that in a future video. Exact numbers aren't available, but an estimated 2 million Russians died. They were killed in action, died of wounds, or died in captivity. An additional 1 million civilians of the Russian Empire died because of the First World War, because of military operations, but most because...
Yeah, man. What a good guy, man. Go down on the link down below and support his videos. He really do research on these videos, and I feel like he's a good guy, man. I feel like he explains a lot of good things, and you know, the things about it, man. There's a lot of people who died, and World War I was the start of something very horrible. Now, we had horrible wars back in the days, of course, with Napoleon and everything, where Russia, you know, invaded, and we had, like, in the Middle Ages, you know, other countries, and, you know, there's been a lot of war and pain and suffering and everything like that, and I guess this is the century to heal and trying to, you know, get some ground back and not give up, of course. But what a horrible war for Russia, man. What a horrible war. It's horrible to see, because I could imagine being in Russia as a civilian and as a woman or child. You know, most men, they were out fighting, of course, but just, you know, not getting food on the table every day, hustling every day, just trying to stay alive it must be horrible when you have kids, man. You must really feel like you neglect, you know, your kids, your family, everything like that. It must really feel bad, man. So that made me kind of depressed. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, anyway, guys and girls, if you like this video, please hit the like button down below to show support to this video, and that you like these kind of videos that we react to right here. Respect to all the fallen soldiers in World War I, of course. Really respect to them. Also, please do comment down below what you think about this war. Is he right about his history? Is he right about that? I feel like we reacted to it before the World War I, the simplified story of World War I, of course. Really good series, you should check it out, but check out this guy as well. Also, please do subscribe and hit that notification button to get updated on newest videos that come to this channel and become a member of the JellyGoon Squad, of course. I love my JellyGoon Squad and my subscribers, of course. I'm gonna see you into the next one, man. Peace.